Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making the first part of our haunted house, which is the door. You will need an 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and on the long side you will be scoring at 2.75, 5.5, and 8.25. Switch it to the short side and you will be scoring at 1.5 and 7. Fold those score lines. Here you can see me reviewing what I did next. And here you will be cutting that section off. I don't know why I didn't cut that in the first place, but yeah, you will be cutting that small rectangle off. Next thing we do is score that on the first section. You score at 1 3/8, but just score inside that small rectangle. That will be the middle of our roof, like the roof of our door. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but you will see in a little bit. So once you score that 1 3/8, what I did is cut it diagonally. Again, that 1 3/8 score line, that's going to be the middle of our roof. That's going to be the point. And here you can see I cut that part off. And you see here I'm trying to figure out how to cut the other side. Then I remember that it'd be easier for me to find the 2 points, like the other point. It'll be easier for me if I cut the flaps, do the snaps, the snips, that's what we call it, before we do that other side of the roof. And there you go. We're now ready to fold those flaps. And now it'll be easier for us to cut the other side of that triangle. There you have it. We have the triangle roof for our door. Next thing we need to do is to cut out our windows. I do want to apologize that I am using a black cardstock to make this tutorial. I know it's not going to be that easy to see the score lines, but I do hope that after the measurements you'll be able to figure things out. But again, I do apologize about that. Okay, so we are going to be cutting our windows. On the short side, we are going to score at 0.5, 2.25, 2.75, and 5. So you see that I went back to the short side because I forgot I had to score a few more lines. I believe when I was recording this tutorial, I was just looking at my video of how I made it. I didn't write any measurements, which is why it's taking me longer to make it. So yeah, here we go. Again, long side, we are going to score at 0.5, 1.25, 1.5, and 2.25. After you made these score lines, you will need to cut the innermost rectangles out. There's going to be 4 of those. That will be your windows. I know you won't be able to see it very much here, again, because of the black cardstock that I used, but as long as you made all the score lines, you will notice that there are 4 innermost rectangles and that you will cut out. I even tried to make lines here so you know which one to cut out. I'm not sure if that helped. There you go. After you cut that out, this is what it looks like. It's going to be your windows. Next, you cut printed paper. This will be used to cover that black cardstock. So you will need 3 plus 3. like two different designs. You can use one, but I did two. You will need 3 plus 3 of 2 5/8 and 5 3/8. That's 2 and 5/8 by 5 and 3/8. You need 6 of those in total. And then for the roof and floor, you see there I pointed out earlier, you will need 4 of those paper 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. I hope that made sense. Yeah, cut that out. And here what I did is I also cut 2 of printed paper measuring 7 by 2 3/4. That's going to be for the door of the door. Now I am going to cover the sides of this box that we're making. See, you see that paper? That's when I finally started to write the measurements. This will take a while, so I'll say it again. For the printed paper, for the mats, you will need a total of 6 2 5/8 by 5 and 3/8. And for the roof and floor, that's both inside and outside, you will need a total of 4, measuring 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. And lastly, for the door of the door, you need 2, measuring 7 by 2 and 3/4. I don't know why I haven't mentioned it yet, but for this project, I used Fancy Pants Designs' newest Halloween collection called Happy Halloween. It's available now, and I'm pretty sure my code still works, so if you want to get it, you can use niftycraftyme 10. Okay, here we go. We already covered the walls. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to make this flap for our closure. It's going to be for that door. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting a pattern paper measuring 1 by 5 and 3/8. And I scored it at 3/8 on the short side. You will fold that, and that's going to be your closure. Now once you have that, finally we fold it. There we go. I think I also rounded the corners here. I think it looks better. Well, it doesn't really matter if you round the corners. Next, we're going to glue that down. You see I'm gluing it on the front side of our door. Again, this is going to be the closure. There you go. Next thing we're doing is putting the mats for the front. You take that 7 by 2 3/4 paper, and the first thing you need to do is you cover the front part. Once you glue that down, you flip to the other side and you will cut that triangle part. the remaining, the extra parts. Now before you start gluing the other paper, please stop, because we need to cut out the window parts first. See, even I was trying to figure that out. I was going to make a mistake, but stopped myself. So yeah, I pointed that out. And there you go. That's how it looks. Now you flip that over. And here, you will need a piece of acetate that's just a bit bigger than the window part. I believe I cut it there in the most bottom. There you go. So I cut it out. And what I did was I sewed that. No, I didn't. See, even I get confused. So what I did is I glued the other side, but not the entire paper. I just glued the topmost part and the other side, that's so I can still cut out the window parts, because I won't be able to do that if I put the acetate in first. So that's what I did. I put the paper, but not glued. I didn't glue it entirely. And once I'm done cutting out the window parts, I'm going to insert the acetate. There you go. Now that's how it looks. Now you're ready to glue everything down together. And what I'm doing now is I'm pointing out that I'm going to be sewing everything. So there you go. I sewed everything. And now we're ready to put everything together. I am going to glue that into a box. Again, this is going to be the first part of our haunted house. Originally, when I was trying to make a Halloween project for this year, this was supposed to be it, like the whole thing. But then it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense because it didn't look like a house. It just looked like a part of a house. So from this project, I just added on. I add on until I made the whole haunted house. So if you want to make the haunted house, you will need to make this first. I believe I already sewed the squares as well at this time, because I know I can't sew it when it's put together already. I'm pointing out here that my flaps are uneven, but don't worry about that. It's really not a big deal. I'm pretty sure it's just me and how I cut it. But yeah, either way, it's gonna be covered by our mat. So I'm gonna glue the 4 pieces of squares. I don't think I showed how it's gonna look after you put it, but that's the very last part. All you need to do is glue it down. And once you're done gluing it, that's everything. You are done with the very first part of our haunted house. So I hope you were able to follow along and stay tuned for our next part. See you next time. Bye.